house ownership. I did not know what to title this, but it is in Indiana. So my mother has a house, been in our family for almost 100 years now, never had a mortgage, never had home equity, anything ever, mom up to date on property taxes, no tax sale, nothing. I went out to the lake house to get some of my stuff. While maintaining it year-round, grass, weeds, etc., it is a summer lake house, and we use it for storage, etc. When I entered the house, it looked like someone had broke in. So I asked a neighbor. She said, "The bank took it." And so here we are. I called and filed a police report of all stolen items that I am assuming the people the bank hired took, and the police officer is to call my mom tomorrow after he figures out what he can. He informed my mom there's a law where if you care for a property for more than 30 days, you can lay claim to the property.
In 1973 in October, I'm up in the mountains of North Carolina meditating, and just before sunset, and I'm up at 5,000 feet, and I see this right before I sit to meditate. I look over towards the southwest, and there's a seamless metallic disc. And it's the same disc I had seen when I was 8 or 9. I'd seen one of these ET craft when I was a very young boy with my twin sister and some other people in my neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went, oh, well, they're back. I didn't think anything more about it. And I sit to meditate, and I have this profound, deep meditation that lasted a very long time. Because by the time I ended it, it was pitch black, and the Milky Way was above my head, gorgeous. And at the end of it, I stood up, and a beautiful thought, felt like it was telepathically sent to me. And it would sound strange, said,
who is Colin Thompson? And 2, y'all are making 6 to 7 figures doing podcasts? I'm in the wrong line of work. I make like 4 figures here in the $10 million studio. Barely keep the lights on, okay? So I went to do some research, figure out, how these people are making all this money and also how they got robbed. And what I found out was that this company that stole the $4 million was a podcast network called Cast Media. Podcast network being a fancy name for saying they represent podcasts to find sponsors. All that stuff you violently skip with the fast forward 15-second button. Yeah, those guys. And Cast Media would basically work with them as a middleman. They would take some money, give the podcasters the read, and then give the money. Of course, taking a cut for themselves. Now, that is simplifying it a bit, and we'll go into the details more later. But what you need to know is that Cast Media hadn't been paying their talent on time. And what started as being late for maybe a month had turned into 7, 8, 9 months late on paying, until one day Cast Media and their CEO
cybersecurity experience and expertise with a special emphasis on the increasing prevalence of internal breaches within the cybersecurity sphere. We're going to talk today about all of this and more in hopes of making your workplace safer from threats both outside and within. Irina Moroz is co-founder and VP at Nucleus Cyber. She's responsible for defining the company's messaging, branding, demand generation, and public relations strategies. An innovative executive with impeccable attention to detail, Moroz leverages more than 20 years of B2B marketing experience to direct the company's marketing strategy and communication programs. Moroz has built her successful career by empowering startups and public software companies to exceed growth objectives through successful demand generation programs, product positioning, high-profile events, and product evangelism. Most recently, Moroz was the Vice President of Marketing at InfoSight, a malware and threat hunting solution. She served as the SVP of Marketing for CryptZone's network and application.
8 criminal charges in total against Sam, which include wire fraud on both lenders and customers, conspiracy to commit wire fraud on both groups, conspiracy to commit both commodities and securities fraud, as well as conspiracy to commit money laundering. He faces a maximum 115-year sentence if convicted. The Department of Justice indictment alleges that Sam also broke campaign finance laws by making contributions to candidates and committees that exceeded federal limits. And we'll cover that point near the end of the video. Now, while the SEC can only issue civil charges, they are accusing Sam Bankman-Fried of orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar fraud that began the day he launched his exchange and continued at his personal direction until its collapse last.
Warning that there was anything wrong with my account. I couldn't believe it. I think I just went into this post-traumatic stress disorder. I didn't know what to do. Who do I complain to? There's no representation for retail.
There's many unreasonable users with unreasonable demands that there are even scammers that make a living just by suing people. We can't just give in all the time. So we let the legal system decide that. There are situations where the exchange outage do cause negative financial impact to people. And when we can identify that clearly, we do compensate for that.
I didn't know that they were not responsible in their mind. They're not responsible for failure of their tech platform.
Female assassins lasted less than 3 seconds. It was perfectly synchronized. 2 women had delivered a fatal dose of one of the deadliest poisons known to mankind by smearing it on their hands and thus smearing it on his face. This poison had been outlawed by the Chemical Weapons Convention in a treaty signed by just about every single country on planet Earth, including Malaysia. Governments were not even allowed to stockpile this weapon. It was that dangerous. The US at one point had a big stockpile, and after they signed this treaty, they dumped it in the ocean. They put it on a bunch of ships and sank the ship deep in the ocean. This is a man-made weapon, a chemical weapon of mass destruction. And it's like baby oil, just an oily substance. But now it had been used to kill
enhanced. But if you really look at it, the Constitution and the amendments, I mean, they have been pretty solid, good to go in the physical world. However, there's this little bit of a problem. I don't know, a problem, an issue, an idea, an invention that I don't think the founding fathers, or to be honest, anybody or any country that was founded hundreds and hundreds of years ago thought about this idea of the internet, the idea of the worldwide super information highway. Because here's the problem, my friends. The problem is traditional laws are based on physical boundaries. So if I'm in the US, I have to follow US laws.
Believe all women does not mean literally believe all women unconditionally in every circumstance. It just means don't reflexively disbelieve women. It's just like, oh yeah. It's like asking if black people were 100% honest, and then the question is like, Black Lives Matter means white lives don't matter. You know what I mean? Or sorry, Black Lives Matter means white lives matter too, but black lives don't matter at this point. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no shit what that is. That's what that means. Why are you presenting it like it's a fucking thing that is not, that it isn't? Bad slogans, to be honest, seems like a messaging problem. No.